Hi everybody, this is Scott Sharp with Fretboard Toolbox, and today we're going to look at some walking bass lines for key of G major chord progressions on the guitar. So let's get started and I'll show you how it works. So today we're going to use a Fretboard Toolbox Complete Guitar book, and we'll go to the key of G major, and my complete books have all the major keys, all the relative minor keys, and all the blues keys, and it shows you the three big ideas you want to know in each key, which is what chords make up the key, what notes make up those chords, and chord progressions, and then where the soloing scales are found. So today, all these chord progressions from the key of G major are going to be played over here, and we're going to find walking bass lines, ways to move around on those chord progressions. And we'll use these notes here in white boxes as our major scale notes to help us walk around to all those different chord progressions. And we'll also go to the Fretboard Toolbox website and go to Tracks and Tabs, 200 free jam tracks, where I've got tracks for a whole bunch of different keys, and we'll use the key of G major ones today, and all the chord progressions here are the same chord progressions over here. So it's just me playing through them on guitar. And we'll start out with just a straight G major. But what I want you to focus on when we're looking at this fretboard layout is what are the notes that make up the chord I'm playing. And so today we'll target the one note a lot. So the first note, like out of G major, it's G, B, D. And the way that looks up here is G major is made of the notes G, B, and D in the 1, 3, and 5 columns. And I got lots of videos that show how that works. If you're not sure, let me know in the comments and I'll point you in the right direction. So to play just a G major, we can use these notes in white boxes, and we'll break some rules. We'll use some notes that are in gray boxes. But let's just get a chord progression started here, and I'll show you kind of how things are laid out. So here's just a straight G major. My notes are G, B, and D. And so when I'm walking up to the G, I could go E, F sharp G, E, F sharp G, B, A, G. That's C, B, A, F sharp G. That's D, E, D, B, G. So I'm just trying to show you a bunch of different ways that we can get back to that G note there, and use notes that are in the key there, and which are all those notes in white boxes. So in my books, everything in the major key and the relative minor are in white boxes, and then pentatonic notes are all underlined. So that's just a straight up G major, but let's play a 1-5-1 next. So a G major, D major, G major. So G majors were made of G, B, D notes, and D majors are made of D, F sharp, A. So now when I'm playing G major here, I'm going to want to see how can I get to this D note. So let's try a couple ways to do that. D, and then it hangs on the G for a minute. That stays on the G. Now we're about to head up to the D. Now we're going to do a chromatic run. So that chromatic run was B, C, C sharp or D flat, D, A, B, A, G, E, F sharp, G, C, B, A, G. So there's so many different ways, but what I want you to do is pause and open up those jam tracks and start trying to find some ways to go from between the main notes that you're playing in the chord. So to get from that G up to this D, we tried A, B, C, D, and B, C, C sharp up to this D, but we can also get this E in there, like if I was playing this. that was G, B, E, D, B, B, C, B, G. Again, today I'm not trying to have you play everything I'm playing. I'm just trying to give you some ideas of things that you can do to kind of move around on those chords. So now we're going to play a 1, 4, 5. So we got the G, B, D. We've seen the D, F sharp, A. For C major, it's made of C, E, and G notes. So I'm going to go from the 1 to from a G to a C as my root. So how can I go from this G to this C? And so again, there's lots of ways. If I'm playing just on a G chord, A, B, C, and then I want to go to the D, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B flat, B, C, so let's hear one of those or a couple of those in context here. So 1, 4, 5. So G, C, D, G. Still on the G. A, B, C. C, D flat, D. So if any of those, if you like any of those, I would hit the little gearbox in the bottom of your YouTube channel and watch them in slow motion. Like turn it down to 75 or 50%, and then, but more than just watching exactly what I do, look how I'm using notes from the key and watch when I'm breaking rules. Like when I went B, C, C sharp or D flat, D, or I did a B flat B. That's a little bluesy number. Anytime you are playing a flat third to a third on a chord, that gives you bluesy sounds, and I got videos on how to get those bluesy sounds if you're curious. But let's just play a couple more so you can get the idea. This is a 1, 5, 4. So now I'm going to go from a G major to a D major to a C major. So I'm going to go G, and then I got to get up to a D, and then I got to go from a D to a C. So let's look at some ways we can do that. Now I'm on the D to the C. All right, let's try that one in context here. Now we're heading to the D. All right, again, just tons of ways that you can move around there. And I'm going to show you a couple more without playing the jam tracks. But here I'm going to go from a G major to an E minor, C major, D major. So G, E, C, D are my focus notes. So starting here on this G, like anytime you're going from G major to E minor, this is a real fun one. G, F sharp, E, like this. flat, D. There's that bluesy flat third to third. E flat, B, D, G. And mess around with other ways too. Like that I was doing that. But let's try something else. That was B, G, E, B, E, C, C, E, D. So this is supposed to be kind of like a little laboratory where you can just practice jam tracks and find all sorts of different ways to move along and then like build that muscle memory. So the goal is not that you're like here's the 7 ways you can move around chords. The goal is when I can see the notes that are in white boxes and I know what my target notes are, then I can see how I can use just the straight up notes of the scale, the notes in white boxes, to move between those chords. Or I can break some rules, but it really is cool when you know what rules you're breaking. So like when I'm on a 4 chord, like a C, in the key of G, and I know I can always do that little chromatic walk up to the 5 every time. It's going to sound cool and it's going to have this particular sound. So anytime I want that sound, I can make that move. And that sound of like E, F sharp, G, like I can do that anytime and I know what I'm getting. Or if I want to try to get this F in here, like I can try this. So I'm going to go E, E, F, F sharp, G. E, F, F sharp, A, G. So if you want to learn more about fretboard toolboxes, if you go to the Fretboard Toolbox website and you go to pick your instrument, I've got books set up just alike for all these different instruments, and I've got essential and complete editions. Today we just looked at the complete, but be sure to click here to learn the difference between the two. And I have print and ebook options that you can check out, and you can see all my guitar videos and tools. And any book you click look inside on, you'll be able to see all the instructions and the key of G major pages for free and see if you find it useful. And like I said, the fun thing is once you get one of them, you understand all the instruments. So you can look at any book like that for any instrument you have lying around and find some cool things to do. I've got lots of free tools that you can play with and hopefully discover some neat things. We got those free tracks and tabs and theory by hand, and I do lessons online. So all sorts of stuff for you to poke around with, and hopefully you find a cool way to see something new and to get some new sounds out of your instrument. So I appreciate you stopping by, and I'll be back with more Fretboard Fridays with more videos on more of my favorite instruments.